Hi there, Plant Girl here. I'm back here under my chokecherry tree here. This is where I used to have 3 big mugo pines that I'd cut out. I just planted a summer sweet shrub in another video behind the chokecherry tree, and it's looking great. It hasn't shocked at all. It just went right in that spot and has been very happy there. And now I'm ready to plant a few more shrubs here. So like I mentioned, I had 3 very large mature mugo pines here. They were over 10 years old in this space here, and they'd gotten overgrown, and I've cut them way back. They are still there. I'm not sure how they're going to grow or perform from what I did to them, but since they still had growth at the bottom, I didn't dig them out or anything. I just left them with a little bit of growth there, and we'll see what they do in the coming years. But I want to add a bit more interest around the base of this tree, and I was kind of looking around. I first was thinking I was going to put some hollies in here, but I just can't find any. So my next choice was the Cesky Gold. This is called a dwarf birch, and it's just a beautiful little shrub. It gets about 1.5 to 3 feet tall and wide, and it gets this gorgeous kind of yellow foliage, which will look very nice under the chokecherry tree, which is kind of a purpley red color. And then the sweet shrub gets some white flower bracts that open to kind of reddish pink flowers later in the summer. So I thought that would look really nice together. And then if those mugo pines do come up, and if I can keep them kind of trimmed in their space there, they will provide kind of a green interest as well. So I'll have kind of a reddish purple, some more kind of red and white in the back, and then this yellow. And these shrubs here, the Cesky Gold, they actually start out a kind of a gold red, an orange red in the spring. That's what the leaves flush out as, and then they turn to this yellow color. This space should hold lots of interest when I get these shrubs in here, and it'll bring you through all the seasons, I think. The Cesky Gold and the sweet shrub both have lots of interest throughout the year, and I think they'll work well together. And then you just have the added color of the chokecherry. I think it's going to look great whether or not the mugo pines come back and remain in this space or not. They are a dwarf mugo pine, but a dwarf mugo pine just means it doesn't get as large as a regular mugo pine, which are huge. So a dwarf mugo pine can still get, around 6 feet tall and wide. So I don't know if I'll be able to keep them trimmed back or not. That'll be an experiment for other years if they even grow well. But I'll have the Cesky Gold Dwarf Birch and the sweet shrub in the back there to take on the role of some interest and fill in the space a little bit while we wait to see what happens. So yeah, that was a lot of chatter. Hopefully it all made sense. But I'm really excited to get these in the ground. I have planted a few shrubs for you this year, so it's not going to be a lot different than that. I'm just going to be digging a hole for each of these that's about twice as large or as wide as the can that they're in here. So I'll come out about half the size of the can all around, and it'll be the same depth as it is right now. So only this much. Don't want to set them down any lower because that just gets too much moisture in there. These shrubs, from everything I've read, are a very adaptable shrub. They can grow in a kind of a light shade area to full sun, seem to be able to take any kind of soil conditions, whether it's more on the acidic side or more on the alkali side or just in between. They do like moisture, but not like most birches that need a lot of moisture. These can actually go to a more just regular to even slightly dry periods in the ground. So I think they'll do quite well. It's like sand, clay, loam. They just seem to take anything. So I'm thinking that they should adapt quite well to my conditions back here. And I'm excited to see as they grow. I've spaced the one out there. You can see it's spaced out, so it should have enough room away from the tree to maybe just come to the trunk of the tree but not wrap around it. And this one will go on the other side of the tree in the same space. And then the mugo pines are dotted around. There's 3 of those, so that'll kind of work their way around these if they come in, and then the sweet shrub in the back. And these are just a little bit shorter than the sweet shrub is, so that will work really well to still keep that interest for that shrub back there while letting these have a space in the garden as well. So I'm just going to get my holes dug and get them in the ground. I do have this big sucker coming out here from the choke cherry. So while I'm in here digging around, I tried to hit it with my shovel, but it wasn't cooperating. So I'm just going to try and dig down here and see if I can find the main root that it's coming off of and see if I can just cut it off. It's in here pretty good. Pretty much just developed into a small tree, I think, here. I think I'm gonna need my saw. These are not gonna be enough. So we'll see if I can get at it here. With my saw. I don't know if there's enough room here. Snip some of these top bits away, see what I'm working with more. Got it. That was harder than I thought it would be. Okay, back to digging a hole. Hopefully that kind of keeps that in check there. I think you can see this little bit of a mugo pine coming up here. Okay, so go back to digging the hole. I have about the width in most of the ways now here. Dig a bit more out over here, and then it should be pretty good. It's close to the depth. There seems to be some landscape fabric here, so I'll see if I can free some of that out of here. And yeah, we'll get these shrubs planted. So there is a couple of tree roots here, which was to be expected with suckers coming up. So the sucker was coming up over here. There's another root right here. So we'll have a look at where we are. We're pretty close to soil level because this shrub doesn't actually come all the way to the top of the can. I think I want it that way. I'll take this tag off now if I can, so don't forget. These elastic tags, they stick on shrubs, will really damage your limbs, so make sure you get rid of those. Save them, they have good information on them. Maybe I like to write where I planted the shrub on the back, and I keep them all together, and then I have a really good record of what's where in my yard in case I forget what they are. I'm just gonna try and shake this out a bit. You'll see, yeah, it should be perfect at soil level there. And I've left this mugo here, and there's one right there. So they should kind of go around the edges. I may eventually just replace those with junipers, something really low growing, but for now I'm just going to leave the mugos. It's kind of an experiment just to see what will happen with them. And I'm just going to backfill this so it's just sitting just on the lower edge of that root, those couple of roots that I exposed there. I think it should be pretty good though for height. Definitely has the width it needs, and the soil, I think because these mugo pines and the tree have been here dropping leaves and needles and things for so many years, and I haven't been able to do any cleaning out or anything, and I threw wood mulch in the first few years when I could, so it's actually pretty nice soil right in this area, nice and loose, almost loamy. So I think these shrubs that I've been putting in here will be really happy. Make sure I didn't bury the tree there when I moved soil around. And I'm just gonna make a bit of a berm up around the lower edges of this area to hold some moisture at least the rest of this year. I need to get some water and put a little slow drip on this because I didn't backfill partway through. Didn't do like half a backfill and then water and then backfill. So I want to make sure it has a good deep drink. I'm loving the look of this already. Just having it down in the ground and not having the white tree can showing. I was walking up here from getting the hose. It looks beautiful. So I'm just gonna give us a good dampen all the soil around it real well, just in case there's any soil that sinks so I can backfill it. So I don't know how well you can tell, but the soil has sunk about this far around the edge there, so I'll make sure. Some of it might just be where I have it mounted a bit too high. But I'll come back when I have my gloves back on and make sure to fill that back in. Right now I'm just gonna set this hose here and let it just give a real slow, deep watering to the shrub while I work on the other one. I think Buster gets jealous when I start digging tree holes because he always goes back in his digging corner to dig when I do this. This one should be easier because I don't have any big suckers that I want to get rid of. Well, it looks like there's some mugo pine trunks I might need to dig out a little bit. I never say it's going to be an easy job till you get into it, right? Right up there. Okay, so I ran into a root here too. I've tried to kind of dig down on the sides, so it's not a big root, but I'm going to try and leave it intact. And I'll just dig down around it and then try and split the root ball of the shrub a little bit, just enough to kind of get it going in there. I would like to see if I can get, this is just off the mugo pine. This is, you can see, hopefully, where I just should cut those, trim those back. These shrubs are so overgrown. I don't have my big loppers here with me. We'll see if we can do some damage with this. Just get it out of my way is all. Pretty good sized hole dug here. This guy, this is a root off the tree still, I think, so we'll try and leave that intact. And again, this birch has a nicer side to it. This side's kind of grown, kind of wonky. They were really close together at the garden center, and I think they were kind of shadowing one another. So try and put it this direction. I'm just gonna, there's that good side. Try and just, yeah, I didn't think the roots were too big to do that too. Might even made it too low now. Backfill a little. Half the root ball broke off when I did that, so I just need to add some more soil, a bit more yet. Hopefully it doesn't sink down. I want to make it a little bit high because I'm putting this soft soil here to make up for that root ball that broke off. It will likely sink a bit. And a birch, of all things, would be the best one to have sink, I guess, if you're going to have a shrub sink, but it's not ideal when you're planting trees and shrubs. You don't want them planted too low, and the trunk will just rot, sits in water. That looks like it's at a pretty good height. I would actually like it just a little higher, like I said, because I don't want it to sink now. Okay. So again, I didn't put any amendments in. If you've seen my other shrub planting videos recently, I like to just use the native soil. It's good, decent soil, and get the plant used to that loose soil that I've put back in the hole, and then let's move out into the harder native soil more easily, because it's the same soil, just a little bit more compacted, because I haven't just been digging in it, and I think that's better for the trees and shrubs that way. Lots of worms in here too, that's good. Okay. Right, once again, I'm going to try and make a little bit of a berm around here. Make sure I didn't pile up against that tree trunk when I was moving soil around. And we'll put the hose on this one. Get it watered in real well too. So I like to give it a bit of a flood the first time I water, and again, that's just to make sure if I haven't covered up the root ball and all those fine little roots, that when the soil sinks down around, I'll see that right away with that good flooding. Like that first one, I still have to go back and put soil around it, and then just a nice slow drip to make sure that they're getting really deeply watered in. So this one looks like there's just a little bit of root ball exposed, but I think it's actually that I put some soil up on top there. So I'm just gonna a little bit up on that side there. And I think that's all it needed. Okay, that turned into more of a job than I was kind of expecting. It's been cold and windy and threatening rain all day, and it was finally beautiful this evening. I just wanted to get out and plant those shrubs. Yesterday actually I purchased, I think, 7 new plants. 2 are shrubs, like 2 of those shrubs there. And then I have several perennials that I just picked up as well. It's that time of year, things are on sale. So I kind of went through, found some plants I want to play with and try a little bit. I'm not sure how well they're going to do, so I just picked one up of each thing, and I'm going to be slowly putting those into my garden. And I got new clematis too. I love clematis. But these shrubs are in here now, which is great because it's supposed to get really hot, and the more things I can get in the ground before it actually starts to warm up, finally. I know some of you have been noticing I've been wearing sweatshirts a lot in my videos. It's been cold this July so far, so I'm looking forward to the hot weather. I know a lot of people aren't, but I like the heat. Anyway, so for these Cesky Gold Dwarf Birch, I think I said they could handle moist soil, but I was just reading the tag again, and maybe I just have that in my brain because it's like a variety of birch. But it says well-drained soil, so they want the moisture, but they want it to be able to drain through. They don't want to be sitting in water, which is just fine where they are here. That won't affect where I planted them at all. And I don't think I told you the hardiness. They're hardy from zones 2 to 7. Yeah, zones 2 to 7. So very hardy. Hardy down to -45 Celsius. And yeah, I like, even just now, there's just that little bit of last evening's sun. Oh, the mosquitoes are just nasty right now. The little bit of evening sun coming through, and I think you can just see them just popping back there. I have a few dahlias in front here. They won't be here next year. So that's fine. But yeah, I think I'm really gonna like that look with those bright yellow shrubs down there. It'll just bring your eye in and fill in the space and just give a little bit of brightness back to that area. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. There, I think you can see a little bit there with the 2 little Cesky Gold Dwarf birches there, and the summer sweet, and then that's the choke cherry up there. And just as a side note, since it's in the same area, my bare root perennials, what were these? Heliopsis, I think? Yeah, it looks like it. There's 1, 2, and that 3rd one that was taking its time has come up there now. There's a little bit of sage there, but there's the Heliopsis, so they all came up and growing, so that's great. Yeah, I love the look of those, that bright gold yellow color. Oh, I'm gonna love that.